Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, continuing on with our basic survival tutorial, is what we're calling this thing. And we have jumped back inside the habitat. So out here will, I think, ultimately be our hangar bay. So what I've done is kind of, well, off camera, bored holes in the bulkhead again. And my concept here is that we're going to put in 2 medical bays here, and then we'll probably end up with another couple medical bays on the outside in the hangar bay. We may actually put another one of them or so on the roof. So what I wanted to do here is 2 medical bays. So let's go ahead and I actually brought up the medical bays. Turn it the right way. And put the other medical bay, which is actually going to face the exact same way in this corner. We are going to do an elbow and an elbow back here in that corner, and then an elbow connecting that in like that. We're doing the same thing right there, except we can go straight in. So behind this one here, where the reticle is just basically going through the bulkhead and then attaching on. There's a big long set of conveyor junctions that connect in where the tanks and the oxygen generators were, the gas generators. So rather than leave those exposed, we're going to cover them up with plates. These here over the doors, we're going to do the same thing, just to make those a little less gangly looking. And here in the middle, we're going to put in cryo chambers. Now, cryo chambers are this unique thing that I'm going to go ahead and set this upright. So facing you would be what this looks like, but on the back here is where this port is. So we're going to put in 10 of these things, and that's a little bit overkill, but we do, after all, have 12 bunks. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that that makes that bulkhead look a little bit less ugly. Now that we have the cryo chambers there. Not that the cryo chambers are the most elegant looking things. So now we have medical bays. So let's test our medical bays. We are at 72, 47, and 99. So let's go ahead and T. And if everything's working, then my 2 gases will go up to 100%, which they did, and then we'll go up in energy. 100%. All right. We'll wait for us to go down a little bit in either or, which may take a little while. I don't know what about saving turns that flashy off, but I'm glad it does. 99%. We want to use just a little bit of oxygen, I hope. Trying to burn a little hydrogen there to see if we can make it. There we go, 99. So if this one's working, we'll go back up to 100 and 100, which it did. Alright, so everything looks to be working there. We could probably add a few more things in here if we really wanted to, but I think we will just leave things to the imagination as far as what else to go in here. So, outside we go. And then it's the matter of figuring out what to do for our hangar bay. The other side is how big of a hangar bay do we put in? Do we use this whole piece as the hangar bay? Do we use a part of it? And if we do something, how big is this hangar bay? Is this something that we make it, what, another 6? Is it a small hangar bay like this space here? Let's go ahead and let's play with that. Let's see what we can do here. Let us do our plate thing again, and the reason we do that is so we can connect on the glass in the same way. So we need to change out our glass. Oops. Gee. So window blocks, we got to go to this 3x3 block instead of the 3x2 that we did. And I think we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to do the flat. So to put the reference there, there's a no shade. So if I'm looking out, then it's a no shade. So there's 1. There's 2, 3, and 4. We'll do 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Then we build corner. I guess we're back to tiger stripe. Question is, do we go like this and put a corner piece? Corner piece like that. And back to slope. this way. One more. And then the corner. Windows in here. Change our color back to tiger orange. Flip this around. 1, 2. Alright, so not the largest hangar bay ever, but reasonably good size. Alright, now we're going to do two things here. So let me bring up my other toolbar, bring up G again, and we need airtight doors. Here we go, airtight hangar doors. We're going to do this in 2 stages. So the first thing we need to do is connect this on like this. This entire roof hangar doors. The exact same thing on this side, short of we gotta So the idea here was this is a hangar bay, so I'm going to be able to come into this hangar bay in 2 different directions. So that was what the idea was here, was to be able to open the roof or to open the sides. Now here's one of the other things that I want to be able to do. Well, first things first. We're going to put doors okay, I just have a little bit of challenge, but that's alright. We'll do it, figure out how to do it. We might put that inside so we... Okay, talking ahead of myself. I know I'm thinking aloud and not sharing with you everything I'm thinking, which is like, what the hell is he doing? So, we need... Apparently pulled it off. We need a door to get in and out. So we will go ahead and put an access door on both sides. One of the things that we need to do, so let's we'll grind down this block and this block. And there is a method to the madness. There is something that we are indeed trying to accomplish here. We need 6. We're going to put a conveyor junction there and a conveyor junction here, which should reseal our space. There it is. All right, now I'm going to put in a set of oxygen tanks, and I might have removed all the oxygen tanks. Yes, I did. There's a reason for this. So pressurizing and depressurizing a bay is a bit of a feat. Tank, oxygen tank, there we go, and I still, I believe, have, yes. So here's what we need to do, and we're going to change things up a little bit. Oh, I can't, darn it. All right, we're gonna really change things up. And that is going to go away again. I know I'm being very indecisive here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Alright, well, put it back in. 3. And it's the inverted window. This is block and a block. Now the reason I took those out, originally what I was going to do is, okay, so what is this about? This is about depressurization. Now depressurization, when you're using, you can't really depressurize using your pressurization system. I know that sounds kind of like an obvious statement, but the depressurization system will draw in all the air, but it needs a place to put that air. So the idea is we're going to need empty tanks that are dedicated tanks. They're not connected into the regular system, that will be able to pressurize and depressurize the hangar bay. So that's what this evolution was all about. And originally what I was going to do is have the depressurizers, which is really the opposite of the pressurizers, a pressurizer set to depressurize, and run them through here. Instead, what I'm going to do is build a bunch of conveyor junctions here, and then interconnect them speed at which this system depressurizes is fully dependent upon how many depressurizers you have. Alright, having done that, we're going to go back over to toolbar 3, toolbar 4. In fact, let's go to toolbar 9 because that's my standard window toolbar. Windows 3, Windows 2, Windows 1, slope 1, and face. There's my face 1, and there's 1 by 2 flat. My slope flat, and left side, right side, and face. There we go. So that's pretty much all the windows that I could possibly need. That's my standard loadout for Windows. And then we're going to put in new windows here. We do need flat inverted, and we'll put them like this. There, and the challenge in this case is the center line window here. Let's see how we can do this here. Inverted. One there, and one there. All right. So, is actually going to work out really well because we have an elbow there and an elbow here, and then we have our completely independent system. Now, if all's going well, yep, we're all green. We just need to go outside. T. And we have all of this space up here. So with this many pressurizers, this should actually go really fast when we start to depressurize. Okay. Those are building very slowly. So I guess if I were being intelligent, then we would actually is we also need a pressurization system here. So that's what we're going to do here. Let me go ahead and go to number 2, and we're going to build the our outer armor blocks here, so we have a space against which these doors will seal. Inside, or actually inside is kind of relative at this point, huh? We need 6 and conveyor junctions. Checking, kind of dialoguing a little bit with a colleague. Got some stuff to do tomorrow. All right, so I think I'm gonna change my mind here, and so we'll cut this one away and cut this one away. All right, so up and then connect in. Same thing on this side. Connect. This is connected. All right, pressurizers. So this is part of the interconnected system, which is for pressurization. The other system, which we haven't completely built yet, actually we have completely built it, is for depressurization. All right, so one of the things that we need to do is, well, ultimately we have to figure out how to put in, are we going to put in connectors on the deck? Where are they going to go? So that's something that we may have to decide later. Here's what we're going to do for now. I'm going to go ahead and put a junction here, and it is somewhat arbitrary because I don't know what that's going to do, but I just want to bring this line all the way forward. and then we're going to do an elbow here, point it down. We need a elbow here, point it up, and then a straight right there. So this basically continues our conveyor system forward to this point, which is going to be bulkhead. Right now, it's going to be bulkhead. We will eventually do something with that. Okay, so that one's there, that one there, that one there, and that one there. Which then should connect this in, and green it goes. Alright, one, which will be our bulkhead here. And the same thing on this side, our bulkhead here. And we have the interesting dilemma here. And I'll show you what I mean by interesting dilemma as we go. Back to number one and pull out our grinder. In fact, we can use our number 6 grinder here. I'm just gonna go cruising across. One more. Alright. Now, why did I dig up the entire floor? This is why. Alright, darn it. Okay, I screwed up. And here's how I screwed up. So to unscrew myself up, a little bit wasteful, but it will actually all make sense. I should have paused and done my groupings, but I didn't. Alright. Let's do a save, hopefully to get rid of all the flashy, which it did. We're going to call this pad access A inner. And close. Ah, I really messed up. I'm totally dropping the ball here and not intelligently building, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. This will be outer and closed, and then we'll go over here and this will be B. I know A and B is a little bit arbitrary, but because there's no real direction as far as orientation direction, then it makes it a little bit difficult. So this is, did I just mess that up? No, okay, we're good. Alright, so close that one. Come to this one, and this one will be B, but outer. So B outer and closed. All right. So having named these four, we're going to go ahead and turn them off on the toolbar. We're going to add them into doors sliding. Problem. So there's a save and turn them off on the toolbar. One of the things that just happened is that if you look at the green LCD, just started scrolling. And the reason it started scrolling is because I now have more information on it than can be displayed on a single screen. So I know I just let the air out. So let's go ahead and change this. We'll change, let's see what that does. We may, let's try a 6. Yep, it works. All right. Alright, we're going to do some frightening things here that seem like incredibly wasteful things, but it will actually make sense when we really get into, well, first things first. We were talking about groups. So let's continue talking about groups. I have all of these airtight doors up top. Now, the reason I built all those and then destroyed all those was because if you group things as you're building them, then, for example, all of these that exist right now are roof airtight doors. So, here's what we can do. Now we have a shit ton of air vents here, but all of these airtight hangar doors belong to doors, hangar roof. Save. Turn them off on the toolbar, turn them off on the terminal. And we cleaned everything up. Okay, so tanks, depressurize system. DEPRESSURIZE. Depressurized system. Bink. Off, no inventory, and off on the terminal. Medical room 1 and 2. Cryo chamber 1. So all of these things are medical related, so I'm going to call this systems medical. We're going to save. We're going to turn them off on the toolbar because I don't need them there, and turn them off on the terminal. Boom, all goes away. All right, now here's where I also screwed up. So I started building these before I had grouped these. So I grouped these and then I took them off the terminal, so I don't have to mess with those anymore. Now when I build all these guys, I have everything here. So let's demonstrate that. I have all these up here grouped, so we're going to go to doors, hangar roof, and close. One button, and watch what happens. the entire roof, because it's in a group, closes. Kind of neat, huh? All right. Now, I still have a screw up, but let's get back to approximately where we were. So we're going to rebuild all these guys. Going to spin this around and build the same thing up here. These guys building rapidly, and the flashy back on, and we have a bunch more airtight doors. But the good news is we take these, doesn't really matter, I know that's kind of anti-OCD, but doesn't really matter what they're called, as long as we have doors, hanger, front, and save. All right, then we're going to take them off the toolbar and off the terminal. Now, the neat thing that we have done here is create two different groups of hanger doors merely by building one set, grouping it, getting it off the terminal, building the other set, grouping it, getting it off the terminal. So we have organized ourselves by way of groups and getting it off the terminal, which made our life so much simpler. So close. You'll see that all of these doors now are closing. Bink. Done. All right. So one of the things that you notice is we just pressurized. So we opened everything up or closed everything up and pressurized. So let's add a couple more things that we need. We are done with the cryo chambers. So I'm going to take a button bar here and put that where the cryo chamber is, and then I'm going to paste the button right there. It's a convenient place, right there next to the doors, yes, but convenient. And we're going to do that on this side, and then we're going to put two more in. So there's those there. Technically, I could put another set here, and I kind of want to, but it's such a short distance to right here, so why? So this is, if we look at the door here for our reference, is the A side. So I'm going to call this Hanger Doors A. And then because there is only one other button panel that we have to find, it's going to be called Hanger Doors B. Pretty simple, right? All right. So select those two. I'm going to take those off the toolbar. If I want to put this in the miscellaneous group. We do not yet have a miscellaneous group, so we'll go ahead and create systems miscellaneous. Save and take them off the toolbar. Okay, air vents. Now we are pressurized. Now here's the problem. These are pressurization air vents. So we have 8 of those. These are depressurization events. Now, you can take the time to figure out what all these are, or we can kind of cheat just a little bit. We will grind these 8 down.
Energy critical.
Very low. Do the same thing over here, and we will actually, oh, that's kind of interesting. All right. Now, what did we do? We just ground down all 8 of the pressurization air vents. That leaves the depressurization air vents that we can do the same thing as we did with the doors. We group them, we name them, we get them off of the terminal. Then we rebuild the ones I just destroyed. Makes it all easy, or easier anyway. All right, okay, what do I want to do here? I'm going to take all these air vents and group them. We're going to call these air vents, because they are, depressure, how about just depressurize air vents. And save. I'm going to get them off the toolbar and off the terminal. So, in this case, we have this option of depressurize on and off. So normally, these are going to be depressurized. Now, watch what happens. So you see they turn blue, or that cayenne color, and then you notice none as far as our oxygen goes. We do a save to hopefully get rid of the flashy, which did not happen in this case. Go back out here, do a K. We're going to go back to our depressurize. We're going to turn them off, which means they turn back into pressurizers, and it refills the bay. And you see on the screen here, O2 high. All right, so these are functioning as they should. The only differential here is that you don't see the vapor anymore, and I don't know if that's a my computer thing. Don't know. Game thing. Don't know. All right. Now that we have done that, let's go ahead and do. Well, can't because we are on there. Okay. So we have taken all of this stuff off, so there's nothing on the terminal except for groups. So we're going to go ahead and turn these off. So you see this one here went red, and they're set to permanent depressurize. Now we can rebuild that which we destroyed. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go over here and do the same thing again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Okay, built and all green. This should be built and all green, which it is. All right. Now let us go ahead and configure the buttons here. So what I did was press K, and when you press K on a button, it's going to bring you to the button setup, which is what we wanted here. So these things are still on our terminal, and we'll play with those in a minute, but groups. So we have interesting groups. So hangar doors, front and roof. So my roof is going to be here and open or closed. My front is going to be here, open or closed. Okay. The other thing I want to do is my depressurized vents. And I'm going to go ahead and put those there to depressurize on or off. In this case, it's on. Actually, sorry. Let me do these as on or off. So in this case, the vents are off. All the doors are closed. But if we say vents depressurize and we go T, then you'll see these things shift on and they start pulling the air out. But these are still on, which is never a good thing. Alright, so T. Okay, let's group these guys. But first we're going to do hangar bay 01. See, go right down the list here. 2, 3, 4. And what I'm doing here is I back up over the numbers, so backspace, do a control V because I have my hangar bay 0 copied, okay, which pastes it in. So V is a paste, control V is paste, and this is number 5, so I'm just hitting the 5 key. Okay, so this is just cheating a little bit in renaming. And why am I renaming everything? Well, it's just an OCD thing. 7. Alright, and now that those are done, we're going to turn them off on the toolbar. And you know what? I'm going to create a group. Sorry, air vents. Hang it back. There's a reason for this. So here's we're being a little bit simplistic right now, and let me go ahead and get this in here. So G. Didn't want a G. I wanted a K. Groups and hangar bay. So my hangar bay, I'm going to turn on or off, and okay, so what I want to do is turn these physically off. Depressurize, in this case, I'm going to turn off, and then turn these on. And there's actually going to be a reason for this. We're going to depressurize this space by way of opening the doors. So what we've done is turn these off, and these went into this mode here. So they're saying everything is open, but I'm trying to pressurize the space. So let me close this. And again, there is a method to the madness. So when these doors fully close, then these guys will shift over to green and start pressurizing the space. They're set to pressurization. So my intention here is actually to evacuate all the oxygen out of those tanks. Because I oopsed. Now those will only be able to put as much oxygen. Huh. That should have only been one charge of oxygen here. So the idea is to get rid of all of the oxygen in the tanks. And it's not doing that. Alright, so there's clearly more oxygen in those tanks than I realized. Alright, so depressurize or pressurize. In this case, depressurization on or off is about refilling the bay. So these refilled the bay even with these turned off. So where am I going with all this? Ultimately, by using 6 timers, and I know that sounds a little bit complicated, and actually it kind of is. By using 6 timers, you can set up your single button to turn off the pressurization, turn on the depressurization system to depressurize. Then when it's depressurized, when the bay is completely depressurized, then open the doors, and then the reverse for the other. So basically you use a timer to set up all these events and depressurize the bay, but before you depressurize you want to turn off the pressurizers. So it's kind of a 2-stage process. You don't want the pressurizers to be running. Your pressurizers shouldn't be putting anything into the space. So they're there for, oops, I left the door open, oh shit. And then you close the doors and then these will recover. But in the case of the depressurize system, is that you turn off the pressurization, because if we think about things logically, a depressurizer running at the same time as a pressurizer means we're just going to be constantly putting air into the space and pulling it out at the same time. Because they're independent systems, eventually the depressurization system would fill up, which you don't want it to fill up. It's not designed to be full. It's designed to have a place where this air can go. Whenever we are intending on opening those bay doors, we turn off the normal pressurization system, which we've done here. We turn on the depressurization system to depressurize, which stores that air into tanks, and then open the doors. Then the opposite is also true. We close the doors, we repressurize the space using the depressurization system, and once that is done, then we turn on the pressurizers, which will maintain. So the idea there is that all of these systems kind of chain react to do what they do, and we can do that with 6 timers. So 3 for open and 3 for close. And I think we're going to do all that in another episode. In fact, that may be a good next episode, kind of a dual tutorial on finishing up your hangar bay, as well as how to do a depressurization system. So it might be a fascinating mix there. So we are just about at an hour, and what I want to do is make sure we have everything set up here. Hangar Bay air vent. Let's make sure that these are selected as expected. Yes, they are. I turned them off on the configuration bar already, so let's turn them off on the terminal, and we should have just groups, which we do. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and name this. Should we be really generic and say base? How about vanilla base? How's that for generic? That's probably, I don't think you can get any more generic than that. Okay, we're stationary. We're going to convert this over to a station. So grid mass drops to 0 because weight no longer matters. We have 2,600 blocks, which is actually a good thing. Not very many blocks. So our depressurization system here is configured, but not configured how our end game is going to be. So let's do this on this side. Button number 1 now becomes the roof. So I'm looking for roof. Is that front? Yeah, okay. I thought it was front there for a second. Open close. Our front is also open close. We need hangar bay, which would be on or off. In that case it was here, so toggle block on or off. And then we have a depressurized system, which is depressurized on or off. Alright, so we have effectively configured everything as it was. Those aren't showing as anything in the tanks, but still manages to pressurize the bay. Strange, strange. Alright, with the blinding sun in our eyes, we will sign off. So, this is Kenty Tiger. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.